Good morning. It's Monday the 6th. I hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. As I was sitting thinking about the one-year reading this morning, here I am at the church having my coffee, and it just really hit me that the struggle that Paul was in and the situation that Paul was in. And here he is, he's being accused of causing all these riots and all these dissensions and all these turmoils and ringleader, and they actually called him, he was like a pestilence, he was like a plague, and he was being accused before Felix. And Felix was not a great guy. He was actually a very horrible governor. He did really bad things, and Paul is brought before him, and you've got a Roman lawyer that's speaking out against Paul. You've got the elders and the Jews. They're trying to bring accusations against Paul. And Paul's just in a really bad place. But when it's Paul's turn to speak, he says, you know what, Felix, I haven't done any of those things that they're accusing me of. I haven't started riots. I haven't been in the temple and the synagogues, turning people away, causing huge problems. He said, but one thing I am guilty of, and he said this happily, it said, one thing I'm guilty of, and that is the way. I have been teaching the way. Felix had called it a sect, a dissension and a disunity, a bad thing. And Paul said, no, I have been teaching on the way. And so as I'm sitting here drinking my coffee, I'm thinking, here Paul is. He's been bound. He's in prison. He's he's at a trial. He's got a lawyer against him. He's got false accusations. He's got the elders and the Jews all against him. He's got the Romans against him, the Jews against him. Everybody's against him. And he's still going to proclaim the gospel. He's like, yes, I am preaching the gospel. Everywhere I go, I'm preaching the gospel. And I'm thinking, if I'm sitting at home or if I'm out in public, am I always thinking and having thoughts of and teaching people about the gospel of Jesus, about the way? And so when this is finished, Felix is like, I really don't see any problem here, which is crazy because Felix was such a bad guy. But then he says, hey, Paul, why don't you come? I'm going to bring my wife, Drusilla, and I want you to talk about this to us. Well, Drusilla was a Jew, and she was, I believe, the third wife of Felix. And so when they invite Paul to come and he comes in, lo and behold, first thing out of his mouth, he's like, I want to talk to you about this. Here we've got the righteousness of God, the holiness of God, and then we've got appetites of man. We've got the sin of man, and then we have judgment to come. Paul is very clearly stating the gospel to Felix, and he's basically saying God is holy and you're horrible. You've got a lot of sin in your life. Your sin is not covered, and in time to come, you're going to be judged according to your sin, and you're going to be found guilty. And, I'm just thinking, man, here Paul is in this strait. He's in this really bad predicament. But when he gets a chance to come before Felix for the second time, he kind of calls it out in Felix. He's like, this is who God is, this is who you are, and this is what you're going to get. He's not afraid. He doesn't shrink back, but he's very bold. His whole purpose in life was to share the gospel, to see people come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And I think for my own life, is that my goal and is that aim where I aim every single day when I'm having a cup of coffee with someone, when I'm out in the public, even when I'm being accused of things, is my goal and my aim just to share the gospel of Jesus so that someone won't have to die and spend an eternity in hell. Of course, it's sad that Felix says, you know what, this really isn't a good time. I got some other things going on. It's a pretty busy day. Why don't you come back another time and we'll talk about this? My heart aches for that, because I do feel like so many people are so busy that they've got so much going on in their life, and they want to hear truth, but it's never a good season. It's never a good time. It's always, well, let's put it off and we'll do it tomorrow. We'll talk about it another day. I'll invite you to come back another day. And so I just really want to encourage all of us, that we're here with one purpose. The Lord has placed us in this season for such a time as this, to share the gospel, to be busy about the Father's kingdom. We don't want anyone to not know Jesus Christ as their Savior. Our goal and our aim should be that everything, every purpose that we go after has the ultimate goal of seeing people come to Jesus Christ. So no matter what your circumstance is, I pray that that is your goal and that is your aim. When I think about Felix saying, this just isn't a very good season for me, a very good time for me, I'm thinking, I don't think it was a very good season for Paul. It doesn't seem like it was a very good time for him. He was bound and in prison. But his circumstances didn't change his message. And so I pray that whatever our circumstances we find ourselves in, that our message never changes. Y'all have a great day. See ya.